Hey, so how do you approach a blind person? Or, if you are a blind person, how do you prefer to be approached when you're out in public? Come with me, let's go figure out some answers together. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you again. So in today's video, I want to discuss how do you prefer to be approached as a blind person, or if you're not blind or visually impaired, how do you approach someone who is blind or visually impaired when you're out in public? So this last weekend, I actually saw my brother-in-law, Luke, Corey's brother, and he actually approached me with this situation, and I thought that's really actually a really good question, and I thought to make a video about it because I didn't have an exact answer to give him, but I gave him my preferences, and I thought it might be interesting to put this video out and have all of you comment and give me your perspective on this topic. So the situation that Luke gave me this last weekend was him and his fiance were out at Costco and they were doing some shopping, and they came across a guy who was clearly blind. I don't know if he had a cane or not, but there was something that identified him as being blind, and they knew right away when they approached him. So he was standing, it sounds like in front of like a cooler area, like you know how they have the cheese like all out in a cooler, you can just kind of reach in and grab what you want. So he was standing there with a cart, and they kind of stood back and they weren't really sure, like, should they walk up and say like, excuse me, because they wanted to grab something kind of right behind where he was standing. So they weren't sure if they should go up and try to reach around him, or if they should just go up and say like, excuse me, and try to reach around him and get what they needed. And so the question that Luke asked me was, in that situation, what do you prefer? And I thought, you know, that's actually a really good situation, or that's a really good question and situation. And I'm glad that I can actually answer that right now, because when Corey and I go shopping, typically we have a cart, and Corey kind of walks in front of the cart and kind of pulls it, and I walk behind, you know, pretending to push it, but I'm actually not pushing. I'm just kind of using the guide as just an assistant to help me get around the store. So like I always tell Corey, and what I told Luke when he asked me this question was, when we're out shopping and Corey like parks me somewhere so that she can go grab an item, you know, down the aisle 10 feet or something like that, my biggest fear is that somebody is going to come by and say, oh, excuse me, I need to grab something right behind you. And my biggest fear for that is because I don't know where to move. I don't know if I should move forward, if I should move backwards, if I need to move side to side, because typically I don't know where the person needs to be or where they need to get their item that they want. So I'm not sure if I should back up, if I should move forward a few steps, or if I should kind of move the cart away from the side. And sometimes in the aisles, in the stores here where we are, they'll have maybe like small displays of different products in the aisle that are kind of on like a, you know, little display case. And hopefully I'm the only one that has done this, but I've definitely tipped a few of those over in my life. I didn't know they were there. I was walking along in the aisle, hit the stand, and the whole thing tips over and the whole display ends up on the floor. That's incredibly embarrassing, especially when all these products are scattered around the floor, and it's like, oh, shoot, this is really embarrassing. So I always fear that one of those is going to be right in front of me, and as I go forward to get out of the way, there it is, bang, all the products end up on the floor. So like I said, that's probably one of my biggest fears, is to be at the store and somebody comes up and asks me to move out of the way, or says excuse me because they want to grab something right where I am. So to answer Luke's question, when he was asking me what do I prefer, I actually said personally I prefer if somebody knows that my situation, like if they can recognize that I'm blind, I would prefer them to just wait a second. Just give me like 10 seconds until Corey comes back and we can continue to move on and get out of the way just naturally without them saying anything. That's my preference. I know a lot of you who have gone through O&M training and have, you know, a lot more independence than I do and are more confident in these situations would probably be totally fine if somebody did that and asked you to, you know, move out of the way or said excuse me. You'd probably be totally fine just shimmying forward a few feet, whereas I am pretty uncomfortable with that for all the reasons I just explained. Another thing that I explained to Luke was you always kind of want to, like in my situation, a lot of the times I don't know when someone's by me. So for those of you who are blind or visually impaired, I'm sure you have a sense when someone is near you. You know how that is? You can just kind of sense when someone is near you within a few feet. However we do that, I don't know, but I can always kind of sense when something or something is near me. but there are times when I can't. And an example of this would be, like I told Luke, when I'm at the gym. Corey and I are at the gym, we're working out, and Corey leaves me on a machine for a certain amount of time, and then I usually text her, and she comes over to get me. Well, sometimes she'll come over and walk up to me, and I won't know that she's there, and she'll be standing right next to me, and she'll say, "Oh, hey, Matt," and she scares the crap out of me. And like, I jump because I wasn't expecting it. Like, I didn't know she was there, and she just scares me. So, like I was telling Luke, I would prefer, if I'm at a store and somebody knows that I am blind, maybe say something as they approach from a few feet away, something like, "Hey, I'm right here, I'm just gonna reach behind you." You know, something like that. It's no big deal. I've had that happen a few times where people have known my situation and they will say something very similar to like what I just said, which is, you know, "Here I am, I'm walking up, I'm on your left, I'm just gonna reach right around you here quick and grab something." I've had that and no big deal. They know my situation, so they understand. So it's easy that way. But I would say that's the biggest thing. In my opinion, I prefer people just kind of hang out and just wait if I'm standing somewhere, if they know my situation, and to always give me some kind of heads up when they're approaching, because like I said, Corey, she doesn't do it intentionally. She walks up to me, I don't know she's standing there, and then she she scares me, and it's not fun. So anyway, I'd be interested to know, how do you prefer these situations when you're out in public? Let's just say you're at the grocery store and you're maybe standing somewhere. What do you prefer? Do you prefer someone to just hang out and wait for you to just naturally walk out of the way? Or do you prefer somebody to just say, "Excuse me," like they always would with somebody else? Do you prefer somebody to announce when they are approaching you if they see your white cane or they know that you're blind or visually impaired, just to kind of give you a heads up so that you're not startled like I have been in a few situations? So I would definitely be interested to hear from you and hear your perspective on this topic. I thought it was a really good one. When Luke was asking me these questions, I thought this would actually be a really good video topic. So I would be interested to hear from you and hear your opinions on this situation. Thanks again for watching. If you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor and subscribe. Otherwise, leave any comments or questions you have down below. And I always look forward to hearing from you, getting to know you, and just learning more about like your situation and just everything about you. I've really enjoyed talking and getting to know all of you on this channel. So it's just been really fun. It's been a really cool experience, actually. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see you again on a future video, probably tomorrow. Thanks again. See you soon.